I saw this film on the same night as a So Bad It's Good haunted house event. I remember my thoughts on Saw 7 just of it being bad. This film has several names: Saw 7, Saw the Final Chapter, or Saw 3D. My review is based on a 2D viewing to compare it to the rest of the series, and I'll be calling it Saw 7 from here on out. The 8th movie, Jigsaw, is now a continuation of the story, so therefore it's no longer the final chapter. So then, for the last time, let the games begin. When Hoffman escaped the head trap at the end of Saw 6, Jill was right outside the room. As a result, she knows that he escaped and now he wants revenge. Jill decides to confess all to Matt Gibson, an internal affairs detective who immediately grants Jill immunity and tries to keep her safe. A delivery of a DVD to the safe house compromises the location, and so Jill is moved to a holding cell. Gibson is called to a jigsaw trap where 4 victims are mutilated at a junkyard. Evan, played by Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, needed to peel himself off of a seat that he was glued to, pull a lever, and stop the car killing him and his friends. Their crime? Racism. While investigating the junkyard, there are 2 loud explosions which seemingly do nothing to the crime scene. Gibson discovers where the latest game is after following some cryptic clues left by Hoffman, and also who the victims are. Bobby Dagan is an inspirational talker who sells his book and DVD about his ordeal at the hands of Jigsaw. He appears at book signings, TV shows, and at a support group for the other Jigsaw survivors, including a few faces from previous movies. Hey, there's Dr. Gordon. He survived apparently, and this is the first we find out about it. Bobby and his aides, Nina, his PR rep, Suzanne, his lawyer, Cale, his best friend, and Joyce, his wife, are all captured as Bobby's story is completely made up to make money. John knew about this and made veiled references to him at a book signing, but now it's time for Bobby to be tested for real, along with his posse, all of which know about the deception, except Joyce. Bobby tries and fails to save everyone, and in the final act sees Joyce burned alive in front of him as he fails to complete the task that he himself has been telling everyone he's already completed. Meanwhile, the SWAT team attempt to stop Bobby's game, but are easily all killed off by a gas trap, and Gibson finds Hoffman's lair only to realise it's a trap. He's gunned down before he's able to warn the police station that Hoffman has smuggled himself inside a body bag to get to Jill. Hoffman easily kills his way to the holding cells, where Jill escapes briefly, but then is caught, beaten, and then strapped to a very familiar chair. Hoffman places the head trap on Jill, which finally does what it's supposed to do. After destroying his hideout, Hoffman is captured by 3 pig mask wearers. The leader is revealed as Lawrence Gordon. After Saw 1, Lawrence was recruited in secret by John, and it's revealed that any surgical procedures such as the key in the eye, Saw 2, eyes and mouth stitched shut, Saw 4, were performed by Dr. Gordon. As a secret accomplice, Lawrence is able to complete John's final request delivered by Jill in Saw 6. If anything happens to her, take revenge. Lawrence does this by locking Hoffman in the bathroom from Saw 1, chained to the wall, just as he once was. He's sure to remove the hacksaws before leaving though, so Hoffman doesn't escape. In an all too familiar scene, Hoffman is left screaming as Dr. Gordon says "game over" as he locks the door. Now before anyone who's seen this film starts commenting that I missed a bit, let me address that one trap I haven't mentioned. There's a trap which pits Brad and Ryan against each other with their girlfriend Dina hanging above them. They must push the workbench they're strapped to into each other and thus kill their opponent with a huge saw. If they don't kill each other, Dina will be lowered onto a 3rd saw blade in the centre. To make things even weirder, this takes place in a display in the middle of a very busy plaza in broad daylight. Crowds of people stand around watching, barely trying to help these 3. This trap has absolutely no place in the Saw series. The reason here is flimsy. She's using them both and the guys keep breaking the law to give her expensive things. But does that mean either one of these 3 have to die? You could argue that this is Hoffman perverting John's vision, but what relevance does this have in the story? It's never mentioned or referenced after it happens. This annoyance aside, Saw 7 isn't actually as bad as I remember. The story's fairly simple, and Dr. Gordon as a secret accomplice makes sense, as well as ensuring that Hoffman doesn't get away with killing Jill. Gibson's brief history with Hoffman gives him reason to go after him so fiercely. However, the police in general are just really stupid. How is Hoffman easily able to replace her body in a body bag and then kill so many people without anyone fighting back? And then not only set up, but kill Jill in the evidence room and escape? Jill puts her life in the police's hand. They do a terrible job looking after her. At one point, Hoffman offers a trade with Gibson, Jill in exchange for him stopping the game. And although that should never be considered, surely Gibson would know that Hoffman would know this, and other police procedures for that matter. After all, Hoffman was a homicide detective himself. Every loose thread is seemingly concluded, which is what a film called The Final Chapter should do, even if it's not the final chapter now. There's just one thing left to answer. Who are Dr. Gordon's accomplices? He clearly has at least 2 people helping him. They're never revealed. Am I not supposed to notice that? The traps in Saw 7 are probably the most sinister of the whole lot. Pulling a string out of someone's mouth with a fish hook on the end whilst ensuring they don't scream is sadistic, but fits very well with the theme. Having Suzanne slowly rotate into spikes that pierce eyes and mouth is very visceral, but again, works for the theme. A trust exercise where losing sees you hanged? Yeah, nice twist on an old format. Pulling your own back teeth out to get a code to open the door? Who wouldn't hate that? These traps are possibly the most cringeworthy in terms of putting yourself in that situation. All we're missing now is a trap where you're drowned in spiders. I have a few gripes though. I think too much blood is used in some of the traps, namely the teeth pulling, and Jill's blood is purple at one point. Maybe they ran out of red? It's really noticeable and off-putting. The film also plays up to the 3D in a few too many scenes. 3D should go naturally into a film, but here, some shots are added just to include a 3D element. Saw 7 may not be as satisfying as other entries, but during this in-depth review, I'm fairly happy with its conclusion. The series may be too long, and so ending on a high was always going to be difficult. But aside from my one huge grievance with that trap that just doesn't fit, Saw 7 does just enough to end the saga. Or at least, it did. I have just one final video left, an overview of the series on things other than story and traps. Join me for my series overview next time. For now though, thank you very much for watching.